Professional Scrum Master 1, PSM1. The Scrum Guide's highlights and sample exam questions. Get ready for passing the exam the first time. Presented by Feng and Tang. Purpose of the Scrum Guide. Authors Ken Schreiber and Jeff Sutherland. Latest versions November 2020. Scrum was developed in the early 1990s. The first version of the Scrum Guide was in 2010. Each element of the framework serves a specific purpose that is essential to the overall value and results realized with Scrum. Changing the core design or ideas of Scrum, leaving out elements, or not following the rules of Scrum covers up problems and limits the benefits of Scrum, potentially even rendering it useless. Pause this video and read the question until you have an answer. Check if you have a correct answer. Scrum Definition. Scrum is a lightweight framework that helps people, teams, and organizations generate value through adaptive solutions for complex problems. Scrum requires a Scrum Master to foster an environment where 1. A product owner orders the work. 2. The Scrum team generates an increment of value during a sprint. 3. The Scrum team and its stakeholders inspect the results and adjust for next sprint. 4. Repeat. Pause this video and read the question until you have an answer. Check if you have a correct answer. Scrum Theory. Scrum is founded on empiricism and lean thinking. Empiricism asserts that the knowledge comes from experience and make decisions based on what is observed. Lean thinking reduces waste and focuses on essentials. Scrum employs an iterative, incremental approach to optimize predictability and control risk. Scrum engages groups of people who collectively have all the skills and expertise to do the work. Scrum combines 4 formal events. Pause this video and read the question until you have an answer. Check if you have a correct answer. 3 pillars. 3 pillars of the empirical Scrum are transparency, inspection, and adaptation. The emergent process and work must be visible to those performing work and those receiving the work. Inspection enables adaptation. Scrum events are designed to provoke change. Adaptation becomes more difficult when the people involved are not empowered or self-managing. A Scrum team is expected to adapt the moment it learns anything new through inspection. Pause this video and read the question until you have an answer. Check if you have a correct answer. 5 Scrum Values: commitment, focus, openness, respect, and courage. The Scrum team commits to achieving its goals and to supporting each other. Their primary focus is on the work of the sprint to make the best possible progress towards these goals. The Scrum team and its stakeholders are open about the work and the challenges. Scrum team members respect each other to be capable, independent people. The Scrum team members have the courage to do the right things, to work on tough problems. Pause this video and read the question until you have an answer. Check if you have a correct answer. Scrum team. The Scrum team consists of one Scrum Master, one Product Owner, and developers. Within a Scrum team, there are no sub-teams. Scrum teams are cross-functional. The members have all the skills necessary to create value each sprint. Self-managing, meaning they are internally decide who does what, when, and how. Typically 10 or few people in Scrum team. Reorganize multiple cohesive Scrum teams should focus on the same product and share the same product goal, product backlog, and product owner. Pause this video and read the question until you have an answer. Check if you have a correct answer. Pause this video and read the question until you have an answer. Check if you have a correct answer. Pause this video and read the question until you have an answer. Check if you have a correct answer. Developers. Committed to creating any aspect of a usable increment each sprint. The specific skills needed by the developers are often broad and will vary with the domain of work. Creating a plan for the sprint backlog. Instilling quality by adhering to a definition of done. Adapting their plan each day towards the sprint goal. Holding each other accountable as professionals. Pause this video and read the question until you have an answer. Check if you have a correct answer. Product Owner. The product owner is accountable for maximizing the value of the product. Accountable for effective product backlog management. Developing and explicitly communicating the product goal. Creating and clearly communicating product backlog items. Ordering product backlog items. Ensuring that the product backlog is transparent, visible, and understood. The product owner is one person, not a committee. Pause this video and read the question until you have an answer. Check if you have a correct answer. Scrum Master. The Scrum Master is accountable for establishing Scrum as defined in the Scrum Guide. They do this by helping everyone understand Scrum theory and practice, both within the Scrum team and the organization. Accountable for the Scrum team's effectiveness. They do this by enabling the Scrum team to improve its practices within the Scrum framework. Scrum Masters are true leaders who serve the Scrum team and the larger organization. Pause this video and read the question until you have an answer. Check if you have a correct answer. How does the Scrum Master serve? The Scrum Master serves the Scrum team, coaching for self-management and cross-functionality, helping focus on creating high-value increments that meet the definition of done, removing impediments to the Scrum team's progress, ensuring all Scrum events occur within the time box. The Scrum Master serves product owner, helping find techniques for effective management, helping understand the product backlog items, helping establish empirical product planning, facilitating stakeholders' collaborations as needed. Pause this video and read the question until you have an answer. Check if you have a correct answer. Scrum Events. The sprint is a container for other events. Each event in Scrum is a formal opportunity to inspect and adapt Scrum artifacts. These events are specifically designed to enable the transparencies required. Failure to operate any events as prescribed results in lost opportunities to inspect and adapt. Events are used in Scrum to create regularity and to minimize the need for meetings not defined in Scrum. All events are held at the same time and place to reduce complexity. Pause this video and read the question until you have an answer. Check if you have a correct answer. Pause this video and read the question until you have an answer. Check if you have a correct answer. Time boxing. Time boxing is allotting a fixed maximum unit of time for an activity. Sprint planning is time boxed to a maximum of 8 hours for a 1 month sprint. For shorter sprints, the event is usually shorter. The daily Scrum is a fixed 15 minutes event for the developers of the Scrum team. The sprint review is a time box to a maximum of 4 hours for a 1 month sprint. The sprint retrospective is time boxed to a maximum of 3 hours for a 1 month sprint. Pause this video and read the question until you have an answer. Check if you have a correct answer. Pause this video and read the question until you have an answer. Check if you have a correct answer. The sprint. Sprints are the heartbeat of Scrum. Fixed length events of 1 month or less to create consistency. A new sprint starts immediately after the conclusion of the previous sprint. It includes sprint planning, daily Scrums, sprint review, and sprint retrospective. During the sprint, no changes are made that will endanger the sprint goal. Quality does not decrease. The product backlog is refined as needed, and scope may be renegotiated with the product owner. Pause this video and read the question until you have an answer. Check if you have a correct answer. Pause this video and read the question until you have an answer. Check if you have a correct answer. Sprint planning. Sprint planning initiates the sprint and is done by the entire Scrum team. 8 hours for 1 month sprint. The product owner ensures that attendees are prepared to discuss the most important product backlog items and how they map to the product goal. The Scrum team may also invite other people to attend. Topic 1. Why is the sprint valuable? Topic 2. What can be done this sprint? Topic 3. How will the chosen work get done? The developers plan the work necessary to create an increment that meets the definition of done. Pause this video and read the question until you have an answer. Check if you have a correct answer. Daily Scrum. Purpose: inspect progress towards the sprint goal and adapt the sprint backlog as necessary. 15 minutes event for the developers. Developers can select whatever structure and techniques. It creates focus and improves self-management. Improve communications, identify impediments, promote quick decision-making, and eliminate the need for other meetings. The daily Scrum is not the only time developers are allowed to adjust their plan. Pause this video and read the question until you have an answer. Check if you have a correct answer. Pause this video and read the question until you have an answer. Check if you have a correct answer. Sprint review. Purpose: inspect the outcome of the sprint and determine future adaptations. The Scrum team presents the results of their work to key stakeholders, and progress towards the product goal is discussed. The second to last event of the sprint. The product backlog may be adjusted to meet new opportunities. The sprint review is a working section, not just a presentation. Time box, maximum of 4 hours for a 1-month sprint. Pause this video and read the question until you have an answer. Check if you have a correct answer. Sprint Retrospective. Purpose: plan ways to increase quality and effectiveness. The Scrum team inspects how the last sprint went with regards to individuals, interactions, processes, tools, and their definition of done. Discusses what went well, what problems it encountered, and how those problems were solved. Identifies the most helpful changes to improve its effectiveness, and may even be added to the sprint backlog for the next sprint. Time box, maximum of 3 hours for a 1-month sprint. Pause this video and read the question until you have an answer. Check if you have a correct answer. The Sprint Cancellation. A sprint could be cancelled if the sprint goal becomes obsolete. Only the product owner has the authority to cancel the sprint. Pause this video and read the question until you have an answer. Check if you have a correct answer. Scrum Artifacts. Scrum's artifacts represent work of value, designed to maximum transparency of key information. Each artifact contains a commitment to ensure it provides information that enhances transparency and focus against which progress can be measured. For the product backlog, it is a product goal For the sprint backlog, it is a sprint goal. For the increment, it is the definition of done. These commitments exist to reinforce empiricism and the Scrum values for the Scrum team and their stakeholders. Pause this video and read the question until you have an answer. Check if you have a correct answer. Product backlogs. The product backlog is an emergent ordered list. What is needed to improve the product? The single source of work assumed by the Scrum team. Product backlog items that can be done by the Scrum team within one sprint are deemed ready for selection in a sprint planning event. Refinement is breaking down and further defining product backlog items into smaller, more precise items. The developers are responsible for sizing. The product owner may influence the developers by helping them understand and select trade-offs. Pause this video and read the question until you have an answer. Check if you have a correct answer. Commitment of product backlog. The commitment of product backlog is product goal. The product goal describes a future state of the product which can serve as a target for the Scrum team to plan against. The product goal is in the product backlog. The rest of the product backlog emerges to define what will fulfill the product goal. The product goal is the long-term objective for the Scrum team. They must fulfill or abandon one objective before taking on the next. Pause this video and read the question until you have an answer. Check if you have a correct answer. Sprint backlog. The sprint backlog is composed of the sprint goal, Y, the set of product backlog items selected for the sprint, what, as well as an actionable plan for delivering the increment, how. The sprint backlog is a plan by and for the developers. The sprint backlog is updated throughout the sprint as more is learned. It should have enough detail that they can inspect their progress in the daily Scrum. The sprint backlog is created during the sprint planning meeting. Pause this video and read the question until you have an answer. Check if you have a correct answer. Commitment of the sprint backlog. The sprint goal is a single objective for the sprint. The sprint goal is a commitment by the developers. The sprint goal also creates coherence and focus, encouraging the Scrum team to work together rather than on separate initiatives. The sprint goal is created during the sprint planning event and then added to the sprint backlog. The developers may collaborate with the product owner to negotiate the scope of the sprint backlog within the sprint without affecting the sprint goal. Pause this video and read the question until you have an answer. Check if you have a correct answer. Increments. An increment is a concrete stepping stone towards a product goal. Each increment is additive to all prior increments and verified, ensuring that all increments work together. To provide value, the increments must be usable. Multiple increments may be created within a sprint. The sum of the increments is presented as a sprint review, thus supporting empiricism. An increment may be delivered to the stakeholders prior to the end of the sprint. Increments needs to meet the definition of done. Pause this video and read the question until you have an answer. Check if you have a correct answer. Definition of done. A formal description of the state of the increment when it meets the quality measures needed. The moment a product backlog items meets the definition of done, an increment is born. It creates transparency by providing everyone a shared understanding of what work was completed. If a product backlog items does not meet the definition of done, it needs to be back to the product backlog. All Scrum teams must follow the standards of definition of done in the organization as a minimum. If the standards is not available, the Scrum team is responsible for it. Pause this video and read the question until you have an answer. Check if you have a correct answer. Pause this video and read the question until you have an answer. Check if you have a correct answer.